Kurt, I want to jump to chapter 9. And in it, you talk about competitive victimhood, where people prioritize their own suffering over others, which is really just mind boggling to me. How does this dynamic entrench conflicts that we find ourselves in?
I mean, to go back to the point about to have pain as certainty, right? Your own pain. It just makes sense, right? That if you feel victimized, if you feel like you're suffering, that pain looms larger than other people's pains. Each of us is trapped within our own minds. We are minds in a sense. And so when we're minds who are suffering, that it just expands to fill our whole consciousness. And so it makes sense that we anchor so heavily on our own suffering. But I think we can really get into trouble, competitive victimhood here, is where I feel like I'm suffering, but maybe you feel like you're suffering too, because maybe I've harmed you in the past or there's some legitimate suffering that you've had. And now it's a competition, right? It's a competition to see who's the most victim rather than acknowledging, look, we both suffered. Let's try to move past this. Let's try to understand that we're both in pain and can we find a way forward? It's not often what happens, right? What happens is you say, look, I'm the true victim here, you're the villain. And then they'll say, well, no, I'm the victim and you're the villain. And then we get caught in the cycle that can last up to millennia, even with some kind of the most intractable conflicts, like in the Middle East, right? We're really arguing about who the victim and who the villain is. And even if there's legitimate kind of villainy and victimhood on both sides, right, we just make the world black versus white. And I think this can really entrench our conflicts in everyday life too, right? If you're so convinced that you're the victim and every time that you have a chance to showcase your victimhood, you take it, then it's hard to have kind of relationships and the kind of consilience processes that can make people come together after they've been pushed apart.